Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Chairman Reed. I share the concerns about the PILT program. Secretary Jewell, I applaud you and the USGS, and in particular, Eros Data Center in South Dakota, for extraordinary success of the Landsat program. With the last year's launch of Landsat 8 and the inevitable expiration of Landsat 7 in a few years, the continuity of this imagery into the future will become a critical question. As such, Congress included language in the committee report to the FY 2014 funding bill directing USGS and NASA to collaborate in developing a path forward for the Landsat program. Can you give me an update about the status of those discussions and how the short timeline for needing to launch the Landsat 7 replacement is factoring into these plans?
Thank you very much, Senator, for the question. I did have an opportunity about 2 months ago to meet with NASA to talk about this program. It is very critical that we replace Landsat 7 before its batteries run out. It gives us, I think it's an 8-day gap in data, which is very, very important. Landsat 8 provides a lot of new information that helps us deal with things like evapotranspiration, which are very important to understanding the impacts of drought and water across a lot of the country and many other things. So we are working closely with NASA on the potential of a clone to Landsat 8 and also an interim solution that gives us the data that we need that NASA presented to us at our meeting. So we're very committed to a path forward. We appreciate the support in the legislation, and we'll continue to work with Congress on making sure that we don't have a data gap on this important program.
I appreciate your attendance at the Eros Data Center recently. The Land and Water Conservation Fund has supported several recent projects in South Dakota, including an expansion of Wind Cave National Park, protection of grasslands in the Prairie Potholes region, and the acquisition of key portions of the new Good Earth State Park. These projects have boosted tourism, protected our ranching heritage, and provided additional opportunity for hunting, fishing, and other outdoor recreation. The administration budget has identified 4 priority projects for land or easement acquisition in South Dakota in FY15 as a part of the Grasslands Prairie Potholes Cooperative Landscape Partnership. However, much of the funding for these projects and many others around the country is proposed to come from a permanent funding mechanism that has support but does not yet exist. Should this funding mechanism not be enacted, what is your perspective on funding the projects on the list designated for permanent funding?
Thank you, Senator. The proposal for 2015 has $350 million in the current appropriations, and the balance to the $900 million that would require legislative approval. And that proposal also includes full and permanent funding at $900 million in 2016 and beyond. So there is $350 million in this proposal, in the budget proposal that you have before you. There are many projects that exceed what we have in LWCF funding, and we prioritize them according to their ability to address the biggest challenges that we have and the biggest opportunities we have. The number of willing sellers that want to sell us land relative to our ability to buy them are there's a lot more people that want to sell us land than we have money for. I know we have $7 million for the Dakota Grasslands Conservation Area, $3 million in the Tallgrass Prairie Wildlife Area, and I think $574,000 for Wind Cave. Rhea or Pam, do you know where those are within the $350 million as opposed to the $900 million, and where they stack up? And if we don't know right away, Senator, we'll get back to you with details on that. But
Please do.
The prairie potholes, the nation's duck factory, a really, really critical habitat, and as you know, disappearing very quickly from agricultural development as well as other forms of development. So that's very important to us.
In South Dakota, visitor spending in around our 6 national park units totaled $160 million in 2011 and supported more than 2,500 jobs. With the importance of the national park system to our national, state, and local economies, we cannot continue to push deferred maintenance needs to the future without substantial risk. The administration has proposed a substantial investments in our parks in the FY 2015 budget, but it is clearly as only a down payment given the nearly $11 billion maintenance backlog nationwide. With flat or declining budgets on the upcoming centennial of the park system, what approaches do you see to redeem our stewardship responsibilities and address this backlog in an efficient and effective way over the next decade?
Senator, thanks very much for that question. This is a topic I'm passionate about and something where we only have one shot at the centennial. We know that there will be increased visitation, and the National Park Foundation is working to raise awareness about the importance of national parks to all Americans and to drive tourism both domestically and abroad. The parks have prioritized the assets that they have that need the most maintenance, that are going to likely see the most visitors. We have a $40 million increase proposed in the budget. $10 million of that is for a matching fund because there is a lot of private philanthropic interest, and that will be one way forward, is to raise private money because people do love their national parks and are willing to support them, and the match will help leverage those dollars even farther. But it's just a down payment, as you point out. Even with the $1.2 billion recommendation that we have in the president's budget for specific funding, mandatory funding for the national parks over 3 years, we're still not going to make a material difference in that maintenance backlog. But the National Park Centennial will give people an opportunity to recognize these special places, and we believe, as the public speaks in a democracy, we will have the opportunity for additional support. I also want to just reference that in the helium bill, Senator Murkowski was able to add an additional $50 million for maintenance in the national parks, and we appreciate those efforts. So they all add up.
Thank you.